can see it's made from cold steel, and ironically enough, on this side it says not for use when training against metal weapons, which is pretty much exactly what we're going to do. I think it just said that it was made of polymer. I'm assuming, if you saw my other weapons video from Amazon, the Gunstock War Club that is from cold steel that's made of polymer, I'm assuming that this is made out of that exact same polymer. And this shield is roughly, it's 1/4 inch to 3/8 roughly of just pure polymer. I think the handle's probably made of the exact same polymer that the shield part's made out of. And if it is made of that exact same polymer, then it's gonna be, it should be extremely tough. So naturally, we're gonna run this through its paces and see just how tough this shield is and see just how effective it is as a shield. So for this first demonstration, we're going to use Gary. Now, something happened to Gary's head. I don't know where his head went. So now Gary is headless. I guess from here on out, Gary will be headless. Anyway, typically whenever you're using a shield is usually a defensive weapon. Usually like you're catching like arrows, you're blocking like a sword, an axe, you're usually blocking something. It's usually very defensive. But this shield in particular could also be very offensive, or offensive, whichever way you want to say it. So you could use it as a weapon itself rather than just trying to defend yourself. So let's say Gary here is trying to attack me. Especially if I have this in I'm right-handed, so if I have this in my right hand, if I'm standing here and Gary's trying to attack me, I can just use this as like an extension of my hand and punch with it. Kind of like a beefed up boxing glove, kind of. So let's say Gary here, he's trying to attack me or whatever, I'm standing here. Gary's dead. So that's just one way that you could use this very offensively, is to just strike with it just flat out. Now this next one, this one would hurt so bad if somebody did this to you. We're gonna hit them with the side of the shield instead of the front. The front, especially with this where it has this big like bulb up front, that would hurt pretty bad, but getting hit with the side would hurt way worse. So instead of holding it kind of like this, like a glove, what we're gonna do is we're gonna turn it sideways, like this. So I'm going like this, we're gonna go like this, and then just grip it like this and hold it against your forearm. So if you were just standing here, Gary starts causing problems, then you can just take it like this and then hit him like that, and you'll hit him right with the side of this thing. And that would cause so much damage. It would look something like this. You're standing here, Gary's blah, 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 just running his mouth, and you just... Once again, he's probably dead. All right, our next test is arrows. We're gonna be shooting a field point and a broadhead at the shield because the shield has to be able to stop arrows. I mean, that's like the first step in being a shield is stopping arrows. If your shield can't stop arrows, then it's completely useless, and why do you have it? I'm gonna shoot one field point and broadhead, each at the bulb of it and at the side of it. So 4 arrows. We'll see how it holds up. I really don't think that this polymer is gonna have a problem stopping the arrows. I think where it's just so thick that I'll be surprised if the arrows go through, and if they do get through, I think it'll probably just be a tiny bit. They're definitely not gonna fly right through, or they could hit it and shatter, but we'll see. So we're gonna go with the field tip first. And of course, we're going to be shooting out of the crossbow. 3, 2, 1. All right. Ooh. Okay. Here's the insert that for the field tip that goes inside the arrow. The arrow did technically make it through, but just barely. Maybe like 1/4 inch maybe. If your hand was here, your hand would have been fully protected. Your hand might have took a little bit of damage, but definitely not as bad as it would be without a shield. So that's pretty good. All right, now let's shoot the broadhead at the middle. See what that does. I think where the broadhead has more surface area, I actually think it's probably gonna do less and penetrate less. We'll see. 3, 2. Oh no. Oh no. Oh was actually way worse. That actually cracked the whole thing. The blades came off and stuck into the target. Wow, so I was very wrong about that one. So this one, obviously, as you can see, this one came out way farther. So if your hand was like here, you definitely would be getting pretty messed up. You can see how far it shot past the handle. Maybe you can see right here that it damaged the handle itself. So if your hand was there, you'd probably be losing a hand. You can see here that the entire bulb is cracked now. Pretty much a three-way crack right where the razor blades were. So the broadhead is very devastating to this shield. I didn't think that it would crack like that. I guess the polymer is harder than I thought. I figured it would do more of a mushrooming effect, kind of. I didn't think that it would actually crack like that. I mean, I guess technically if you were holding this, and you were holding this out and you got shot with a broadhead, I mean, technically you're not dead, so if you were holding this here, it's better than catching an arrow like to the chest. It still made it through, so let's see what it does on the upper part. So now we're gonna shoot the field point into this top part up here, and now that I'm thinking about it, I really think that we're gonna get a better result out of this top part up here, because I think this bulb, I think it's a little bit thinner than this. 3, 2. Okay, so it appears that I was right. Oh, nice. So the arrow hit it and it just exploded, for one. So you can see here that the arrow just completely exploded. And then you can also see right here, this is the insert that the field tip screws into, and this screws into the arrow. So you can see that it just stopped dead in its tracks right there. And then also you can see right here that it didn't even make it through. It just made the tiniest little hole right there. But other than that, it did not make it through, and it stopped dead in its tracks. So now the question is, will this broadhead perform the same as the last one? Will it just kind of like explode through the shield like the last one did? Or is it going to stop dead in its tracks just like the field tip did? Here we go. 3, 2. Ooh, that does not, that looks like Bad News Bears. Ooh. Yikes. I think that kind of tells the story. I mean, that's probably a good 6 inches or so. Obviously, Bad News Bears. I don't even know what to make of that. That is such a massive difference. I didn't think that the broadhead would make that huge of a difference. So if you want to be real technical, the shield still did its job perfectly fine. Like, if you bent this out of the way, if you could somehow only take arrows on this outer portion and avoid getting hit right here in the middle, even if they're broadheads, if you're holding this out, I mean, you're still good. It's still stopping the arrow. But if you were like, say if you were just kind of like standing, maybe like just standing like this, and then someone happened to shoot a broadhead, it's going to go through, and you're still going to die. It is still pretty impressive that it was able to stop the broadhead and keep it from going all the way through. So I guess if you're going to buy this shield and you plan on getting shot at by a crossbow, get shot on the outside and kind of hold it out away from you, so that way the arrows don't go through. Other than that, I'm pretty impressed. It definitely did more than what I thought it would. Alright, so we know that this shield is going to leave you pretty well protected if you're getting shot like with arrows or something, but we need to see how it handles impacts. So we're going to hit it with the hatchet a few times, see how it handles that. Depending on how it handles this, we'll move on to probably the Warhammer. So I'm going to hit it a couple times here in the center, and then a couple times over here. Wow. Very bouncy. That really didn't do, that didn't do anything. It just left like kind of a little cut right there. Okay, I take that back. It took out a giant chunk out of the front. I'm assuming that when I hit it, the hatchet probably hit it like this, and kind of just like chunked it out. Let's Let's move on to the side of it here. I don't think the side's gonna do anything. I mean, you can leave pretty deep cuts in it. Yeah, I don't think the hatchet is really gonna have too much. Is gonna cause too much damage onto this part of it. So this bulb part's kind of weak. I mean, you'd obviously be protected if you had your hand in here. You're not gonna be taking a whole lot of strikes like that, or else you're just gonna chip away at the entire centerpiece. But on this side right here, I mean, you could probably take strikes with a hatchet. You could probably take them all day long on the side. It doesn't look like really anything's gonna happen. So let's get the Warhammer and see what that does. Now I'm really curious if the Warhammer, since it has such a big spike, and it's like, it's pretty much made to penetrate things. I'm curious to see if it can get all the way through. I'm gonna hit it in the center first. I'm sure it's probably gonna go straight through. Chunk flew off and hit me in the leg. So yeah, it'll go through. That really hurt. Probably should have been wearing shin guards. So you can see same result there, it just kind of chunks off. But yet again, if your hand was in here, I mean, your knuckles are probably gonna hurt, but I think you'd be all right. See if we can get through this part of it. Oh, that made it through. I mean, it just barely made it through, but you can definitely see that it definitely made it through, just a tiny bit. I'm kind of curious if it'll like go in and stay in. All of that cracked the whole shield right there, and that cracked the entire shield. So I guess this polymer is harder than I thought. I figured that it would, like I said before, that it would like mushroom or just kind of like disform before it would crack. But I guess it's hard enough that it's gonna crack. So that's pretty interesting. But this thing is definitely very, very durable. All right, so as it turns out, this shield is actually very durable and very functional. Now, I mean, not that I would necessarily recommend anybody go into any type of like medieval war with somebody, but if you wanted to, I mean, you pretty much could. Don't get hit, don't get shot with arrows that have broadheads right here. As long as you stick to the outside, I mean, you could generally have a pretty safe war. So this thing is way more durable than I thought, and it's very functional, and it can actually take quite a beating. So it's pretty cool. This item excites me way more than it should. Whenever I saw this on Amazon, I could not believe that this actually existed, and I wish that it existed whenever I was a kid, because I would have had a blast with this thing. A toilet paper gun. So basically what it does, it basically, you put a roll of toilet paper on it, and then it basically makes the toilet paper into like spit wads, pretty much, and then it shoots them 30 feet. I cannot express to you guys, I've had this thing for like 2 weeks sitting in my house. I cannot express to you guys the amount of self-restraint that it took to leave this in the box and not open it up and use it before this video. I've been dying to open this thing. Finally, I get to open this up and see how this works. Oh, this looks like there's a bunch of assembly.
Is your agency using WordPress to build websites? That's like carving a chicken with a handsaw, drying your hair with a leaf blower, or using a baseball bat to kill a housefly. They get the job done, but they're awful to work with, kinda like WordPress. Instead, work with Dude.
This is so cool. Alright, so we're gonna fill up the little water reservoir. I hope this thing works flawlessly. We just gotta put our toilet paper on here. This toilet paper might be a little bit too thin. Oh, look at it, it's working. So now, we pull this back. Now, oh, come on. Come on. Oh, I think this toilet paper is too thin. That sucks. So it's working. If you just go like one, man. Come on, man. I'm gonna get some like actual like quality toilet paper, and then maybe that'll make it work better. Hopefully, because I really want this thing to live up to my childhood expectations. I got the quality toilet paper, not this single ply garbage that we were working with before. I'm just gonna go once. Yeah, once. Okay. It's like jammed again. Oh, alright. Alright, so here we go. You gotta go slow. One crank on this. Very slow. Okay. And one crank there. Oh, alright. Now we're onto something. Now this thing's working. Now let's set up some targets. Alright, I've set up some targets, and now we're ready. Pull this little lever here. We're gonna go slow, just like before. One crank. Pull this thing. All right, let's see if we can hit them. We're probably, I don't know, maybe like 6 feet or so. Oh, right below it. That had some power behind it. Let's go one more. Oh, that's a good one. This thing's running really smooth now. Oh, we got 2. Oh, 3. This thing is like a well-oiled machine. Like that one came out in 2 pieces. But some of the ones that come out like as big wads, they actually come out with quite a bit of force. Like that one, that was pretty good. So that's pretty much all there is for the Skid Shot toilet paper blaster. This thing is a blast. For some reason, like you just don't really think that stuff like this could exist until like it does, and then you have it in your hand. I would have never thought that there would be a toilet paper blaster that would have like a feed lever and water, and it could just like repetitively shoot spit wads over and over. I would have never thought of that until I saw this on Amazon. But I'm really glad this thing exists. It's really fun, especially like if I was a 10-year-old again, I would play with this thing all day, every day. I'm 27 and I still might play with this all day, every day. And especially once you feed that first little bit of toilet paper on it. And actually there is a sticker here that says that it works best after 4 to 6 shots, which is probably roughly what we saw. And it says that some water leaking is normal, so I guess the little bit of water leak and the taking a little bit to get going is normal. But especially after those first 4 to 6 shots, this thing works smooth every time. I wish that the power was a little bit more consistent, because as you saw whenever we shot the cups, sometimes it would just barely hit the cup and kind of push it to the edge, and sometimes it would hit it and just blow it all the way off the back of the table. I wish it had that kind of power every time, but you really can't really ask for a whole lot with a toilet paper launcher. Anyway, this thing's cool. I'll have a link for this in the description if you're interested. And let's move on to the third item. All right, and for our third and final item, this one's really cool, especially to me. I love this kind of stuff. It's a cardboard box. This is a Stirling engine. I don't know if any of you have ever heard of a Stirling engine, but this one is also unique because, I'm gonna get all this stuff out here. I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like I know all the science. It's basically just a very small engine, and it has this little groove here, and it comes with a little candle, and we're gonna set the candle here, and this glass tube is gonna represent a cylinder. So you put the candle here, you light it, and then the flame is going to heat up the air inside the cylinder. Then the air is going to expand because it's hot, and that is going to push the piston, and then some science is going to happen, and then that, as long as the heat is there, the engine will run, and it'll sit there and run itself. And then this one in particular, they sell a lot of these that sit just like this on a base, so that you can just sit it on a table and then let it run, and then you can, I guess, admire it or whatever. But this one comes with wheels, and it has 2 axles, so we can put wheels on it, and then once we start spinning it and get it going, it can drive itself. So that's really cool. So I'm going to fill this up with Zippo lighter fluid. I don't know exactly what you're supposed to use, but I would assume that Zippo fluid would be just fine. Alright, perfect. Now we'll just give that just a couple minutes to soak up, and we should be good to go. Alright, it's been a few minutes. This wick everything should be... Oh, that might be a little much. Yeah, that could be a little much. We need to tone that wick down just a little bit. Okay. That flame, I feel like that's an appropriate flame. So I don't know, this sits right here. I have this thing up on this board so that way this engine can, whenever it starts to run, it can run, and then the wheels aren't touching the table so it doesn't just take off or whatever. So I'm gonna light this. I don't know how long it's supposed to take before it'll actually like start doing its thing, but we'll see. Oh, alright. I mean, I feel like that's really gonna turn that thing really black from burning it. I wonder how long it's supposed to sit there and burn. Oh! Look at that! That was no time. That thing runs fast. And I guess it only runs one way. Huh. Even without the flame, it'll still run for quite a while. Alright, let's put it over here. Get this out of the way. Oh, really? Now we're not gonna turn over? There we go. Well, there we go, it's starting to speed up. Let's see. Oh, look at that. That's so cool. Oh, come on. Oh. Oh, look. Let's go this way. Oh, look at it. Come on, how much torque you got? Come on. I know it wants to. Come on. Oh, come on. I know you can do more than that. That is a Stirling engine. This is like a car variety, I guess. This thing is so cool. It has no practical use other than just simply being cool. It's literally a rolling fire hazard. So like if you had this in your house and it was just rolling along and this little lantern thing spills over, you literally just have a rolling fireball through your house. So I don't know like what practical use you could possibly find for this thing. I don't know what it is about like little stuff like this. This just makes me so happy. I love stuff like this. It's just so unique and so cool that you can just like light this little lantern and you have this little tiny engine and then it can just drive itself around and then I guess potentially like burn your house down or whatever, but we'll ignore that part. Anyways, that's all I have for you guys today. Those are my 3 cool things that you can buy from Amazon. Thank you so much for watching. And if there's any other videos that you want to see me make with anything that you saw in this video, especially like the Stirling engine, I would love to make some more videos with this. I just don't exactly know what you guys would want to see other than just see it work because it's so cool. Also, I started a gaming channel, Tyler Tube Gaming. Also, I have a podcast, Tyler Unglued Podcast. All of those links will be in the description below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. All right, so the last time that I put things into this giant rock tumbler, you guys really seemed to enjoy it. So I made a community post and asked you guys what you wanted me to put inside of this rock tumbler. And I got some pretty good responses. 500 or 1,000 responses. So obviously I can't fit that many things inside this rock tumbler, but I picked a few things. We're gonna see what happens. So the first thing that we're gonna be putting in here, this isn't something, this actually might have been on the list, I don't remember, but this is gonna be kind of like my contribution. We're gonna put a bunch of rocks. Since it is a rock tumbler, and the things that we're putting in here, we're gonna have to take up a little bit of space. So, 1 bowl of rocks. Somebody said they wanted a block of wood. Somebody wanted some screws. Somebody, actually quite a few people, wanted me to put a lock into the rock tumbler with the key, and they wanted to see if, by the time it got done tumbling for 30 days, if the key would still work for the lock. So I have a lock and a key. You can see it completely functions. Everything works. So we're going to take the key out of it. We're going to put them both in there. See what happens. Somebody wanted some skateboard wheels in there. So I got 4 wheels. We'll put 2 of them in there. Then we'll save 2 as kind of like a control. Somebody wanted ball bearings. So I don't remember how many I have. I think, there's 150 in each one of these, so I have 600 1/4-inch ball bearings. So we'll see what happens with these. Somebody wanted a watch. I don't remember what kind of watch this is.